How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ruffle Realit, and welcome to a brand new video. Today, guys, we're going to be taking a look at some of my hopes for Generation 8 that we're going to be getting on the Switch. Now, we don't know when we're going to be getting Generation 8, if it's going to be this upcoming Pokemon Switch game, or if it's going to be in the future, but either way, I still wanted to look at some things that I really hope we're going to see for Generation 8 specifically. So let's get started with this little list of mine. If you guys do enjoy this video, simply drop a like down below, and also if you have any requests for videos, please leave them in the comment section down below. Either way, let's get right into this. So to start things off, one of the things that we wanted to see for the longest time, that we saw back in Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and I think also in Pokemon Yellow, is following Pokemon. This is a feature that we've all been asking for ever since Heart Gold, Soul Silver, because it's been such a needed feature. People love to have a Pokemon following them, because it's just an awesome thing. Having a Pokemon beside you, and a Pokemon behind you that's your friend and pal that also is always there, is awesome. And having that in a future Pokemon game, specifically something on the Switch, would be very much feasible and also very doable, because when you think about it, the Switch is a way stronger console, like way stronger than the 3DS, and that was the limitations of the 3DS, pulling back the features like following Pokemon. In Ultra Sun and Moon and in Sun and Moon, as far as I remember, there were actually models that had animations for following Pokemon, but I assume those were never implemented due to the limitations of the 3DS, which is very unfortunate because it would have been awesome to actually see that happen. So with Generation 8 hopefully coming sooner or later, we do hope that we're going to be seeing something like that implemented. Following Pokemon would be fantastic, and it'll be a feature that everybody's been waiting for. Now, how that would work and how they would implement it for so many different Pokemon, well, that's up for time, and you know, we'll just wait and see how that goes. But if they do use previous 3D models that they have from the past, then they can easily do something like that. But then again, it's all up for debate. I want to know your opinions, guys, in the comment section down below. What are some features you guys want to see for Generation 8? And also, what is your opinion on following Pokemon? Let me know, and let's go to the next really needed thing that we want to see. Now, next up is multiple save files. Now, this is something I have very much advocated for a long time, because multiple save files are kind of needed. Pokemon has never had such a feature, like never ever have you had multiple save files, and it's kind of disappointing, but at the same time it also makes sense considering the limitations again of the consoles that they were on, and also it's just kind of been a staple of the Pokemon franchise for a long time, only being able to have one save file, which is very unfortunate, because honestly I wouldn't mind playing through a game 2 times and, you know, maybe having a different save file instead of deleting all my previous progress. I don't want all my Pokemon to disappear and all that sort of stuff. Of course, that was sort of fixed with Pokebank, but I still feel like having multiple save files would make sense. We've seen it in fan games like Pokemon Insurgents, Uranium, and such things, so why wouldn't they be able to do that for an actual official Pokemon game? I think Generation 8 would benefit from this, and it'd be very much a cool feature to have, and honestly, it's something that I really want to see. So, that's kind of a thing I want to see, but let me know what you guys think about that. Let's get to the next one. Now, the next thing up on the chopping block is going to be bunch of new Pokemon. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, there's been a lack of new Pokemon in the latest 2 generations. We actually had half of what we've had in previous gens in Gen 6 and Gen 7 compared to something like Gen 5. Now, again, this also kind of makes sense because they also added stuff like Mega Evolutions, and they added stuff like Alola forms and that sort of thing to kind of supplement those areas, but it would be pretty cool to see them add in a bunch of new Pokemon again. Now, of course, this would also require them to take a longer time to develop the new generation, which means that something like Gen 8 being the new Switch game will be less likely, because they would need to take more time to actually complete all the new Pokemon and get animations, get 3D models, and all that stuff done for them. So I don't think that's something we'll be seeing for Gen 8 unless Gen 8 comes out in like 2-3 years from now, which would also make sense and fit in with the current like rumors saying that, well, the next Pokemon Switch game or the first Pokemon Switch game won't actually be Generation 8, so it would make sense. But I really would love to see them actually do a bunch of new Pokemon again, because I really want to see an increase in the amount of Pokemon we get each generation, because it makes it more fun to discover them. Because honestly, with specifically Sun and Moon, it was kind of hard to find any enjoyment in finding new Pokemon, because all of them were pretty much, as soon as they like everything happened, they were all leaked, and there were so few of them that you couldn't you could instantly like remember all of them. So it'd be pretty nice to see a generation where we don't see every single Pokemon, or we maybe even see them all, but doesn't mean that we will actually pay attention to every single one of them. We'll still get surprised while playing, which is something that we've been lacking from Pokemon lately. But then again, this is all some, you know, speculation and stuff. I would love to see a bunch of new Pokemon in Gen 8. It would be pretty cool to see an increased amount of them. But then again, it's all up for, you know, it's all up in the air. It's all debatable. And I feel like if they add a better gimmick in, that could maybe supplement those areas and make them more doable, and also make it more okay for me if they add in a better gimmick than something like Z-moves. And we'll get to that in a moment. Now, this point is going to relate to one of the previous points I made a second ago, and that is better gimmicks. Now, personally, for anybody who is interested, I hated Z-moves. I didn't find Z-moves to be so much fun. I thought they were a pretty bad gimmick to add in. They were not really that much fun. But I do like Megas, though, and I think Megas were really, really cool. But then again, as far as we understood, specifically coming from the guys who are developing the game, they seem to be moving away from Mega Evolutions. It seems like they don't want to stick to that anymore, due to kind of the brutality behind how Mega Stones actually work. So they are moving away from that, and they're going more a different route. Now, I do hope that that route does not include Z-moves, and I really, really do hope that Generation 8 gets a better gimmick. Now, what I mean a better gimmick is like, do something to smaller Pokemon that don't have as much popularity. Give them something like that's close to what Megas were, but different, like something like that. And maybe think of Alola forms, like think of a version between, something between Alola forms and Mega Evolutions for Pokemon that are less popular, would be a really, really, really cool thing. But then again, it's very hard to figure these things out, and, you know, it's impossible to guess things out and actually know what kind of gimmick they'll go with. They could use previous gimmicks like Z-moves again, or they could use stuff like Mega Evolutions again, or they could make up something totally different, and that could be either fantastic or horrible. So I really do hope they give us a gimmick that works, and that is good, and that doesn't, like, just, you know, cater to the most popular Pokemon, but actually caters to all Pokemon, and, you know, gives a possibility and a chance for smaller Pokemon that are less popular to get more attention. So that's that. Let's go to the next one. Now, this one is going to be a very, very, very controversial one, I'd say, and that is, please add in more events and more like event stuff into the games. Like, instead of giving away mythical Pokemon and making legendaries so easy to catch, don't do that again. Ultra Sun and Moon for me personally, and just ever since like X and Y, things have been kind of in a weird way for me, where everything is kind of just received on a platter. You get everything so easily, and that's very, very boring. I hate that fact. And the fact that, like, events have become merely just giveaways. Like, all you do is register on a website and then just simply get a code, and then you just receive a Pokemon from somebody in-game in a Pokemon Center. That I find to be very, very boring, and I find that, like, we should definitely have more events, like back in the past, where you have to do some crazy stuff to get a Pokemon, or weird, like, things to actually receive them. One of my personal favorite things to get an actual legendary was the things you had to do for the Reggie Pokemon. Like, those were actually really fun to receive, because you had to do so many weird, like, puzzles and stuff to get them. It was really awkward, but at the same time, it gave the community something to, you know, work for and strive for, and something like that fun to actually do. While lately, it's become so easy to get legendaries that they're actually giving them out for free all throughout 2018, even though you can also catch them in-game super easy through wormholes. And it's just ridiculous. Also, when it comes to mythical Pokemon, they've been reduced to simply being something you receive through giveaways, something like, you know, Marshadow, and something like even Zeraora that we're hopefully going to get revealed soon. All these things are simply just like receivable through codes, and that's kind of boring. It's more fun if you make a specific event for them, or a specific thing you gotta do to actually receive them. That would be way more fun, instead of just giving us QR codes and being like, hey, here you go, good luck. That's just kind of boring, and I would find it more fun if they did, you know, something more interesting with it. And also, making legendary, sorry, would actually, like, you know, become harder, would actually be way better. Like, I find that legendaries right now are way too easy to receive. Even the ones that are the main ones of, you know, games and stuff are way too easy to receive. I feel like they need to up the level a bit and make them more hard to receive, and, you know, downscale them when it comes to you catching them. Or maybe, I don't even know, maybe make certain ones uncatchable and do some like, maybe you have to do a specific thing to actually catch them. I don't know. My point is, make legendaries actually harder to receive, and make also something like, you know, mythicals more interesting to receive through events and that sort of stuff. I find that that'd be way more fun. But then again, maybe it's just me and maybe I just want these things, but I don't know. Either way, guys, let me know what you think about this one, and let's go to the next one here. Now, difficulty is something that we really need to add into Pokemon games as of late. Now, there has been an upping in difficulty that we saw in Ultra Sun and Moon. There was a bit of a difficulty curve that was added towards Necrozma, and the Rainbow Rocket and stuff were slightly harder in some areas of the game, were kind of hard to get through in some ways. But then again, a difficulty curve that's more, you know, more hard would be way better in my opinion. Now, I want to point something out, and that is having the, you know, ability to choose the difficulty of our game would be pretty cool. Now, this is a dead genre. Like, having the ability to choose your difficulty is slowly dying out. Like, we still see it in certain games, but it's slowly, you know, disappearing. We're not seeing as much of that anymore. Like, a lot of, you know, AAA games are removing that option fully, which is kind of sad, but I would love to see that in Pokemon, because we've never had it before, and I think it would actually benefit, you know, quite a lot. So having an easy mode for players who just don't want to try hard their way through, and having a normal mode for people who just want to, you know, have a genuine, experience, having a hard mode for people who just want to, you know, have it a bit harder than the normal guys, and then have an extreme mode for people who just want to go crazy and have to do these tactical strategy things where they have to figure things out. Also, this would open the possibility for so many more ways of let's playing games, doing nuzlocks that are extreme, like, you know what I mean, like literal extreme nuzlocks, without having to randomize them and do things to them to actually make them harder, or, you know, having hard difficulty, you know, randomizers or whatever. Like, all these possibilities would be amazing, and I would love to see something like that added. A difficulty option would be great. To be able to choose a difficulty would be fantastic. Now, that's that one. Let's go to the next one. Now, this is something that I personally want to see because I used to love playing the mini-games back in the olden days on Pokemon games, specifically in Gen 3. I used to love doing like the little side things where you have to do little contests, like all those like little contest things. I love that. Weirdly enough, I did. Also, I loved all the small mini-games and stuff. This is something that I want to see more of. Now, Mantine Surf was a step in the right direction there. They added that in, but still it was kind of minimalistic compared to what we used to have in the past. Like, we used to have these weird, like, you know, little casino things, like back even in like Fire and Leaf Green, you had like the casino place and whatnot. Like, there was these awesome mini games you could do, and they were really, really fun, and I want to see more of those added, especially with the capabilities of the Switch. We definitely have the chance of seeing more of these things added, and I do hope we do get that, because it would be fantastic. But then again, it's all up in the air. We do not know if this is something they would put much time into, because maybe they just don't feel it's worth their while and they would want to work on something else. But I do think this is a feature that a lot of people will appreciate and be something fun to do on the sideline, because this is some of the things that I loved doing when I was a kid, was to just go into one of those mini games and just messing around with them for a very long time when I didn't have anything else to do, or while I was waiting for maybe my Pokemon eggs to, you know, hatch, or not really hatch, but rather maybe waiting for my, you know, daycare to, you know, a certain amount of time to pass, whatever, or maybe I was just bored of playing and, you know what I mean, I just want to do something like that. But my point is, I really do hope that they add in more minigames. It would just make things a million times better in my opinion. But that's me once again, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, I don't know. Either way, let's get to the next one. Now, next up is a very, very, very hard one for me, and that is more character creation tools. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, basically changing the way it is to make your character will be very, very needed. Now, why do I say this? Well, personally, I actually did not want character customization in Pokemon, if I'm gonna be honest. I never wanted that, but now that we have Sun and Moon and that added character customization, it's kind of hard to say no to it anymore, because it's already become a thing now, so it means we'll be seeing more and more of it. I mean, we saw small parts of that back in X and Y as well. We saw parts of it also, you know, in Sun and Moon. But then again, most likely with the Switch, they'll increase that to an exponential level. Now, I personally always loved the silent protagonist, the character that doesn't speak, or, you know, just a character that's like always looks the same. I love that, because then I can associate myself easier to that character in a way that, you know, like, I can just kind of get this, like, weird appreciation of him. Like, the same way we all love Red, or, like, you know, all the way we love Ethan and stuff, the way we like those characters is because they have those personas around them. Like, maybe, like, they may not be us, but they're these characters that we aspire to be within ourselves, and looking at them, we're like, yes. But when you make your own character, for me personally, that's just, you know, an image of myself, and yeah, fair enough, it's cool to have myself in the game, but at the same time, I'd rather attach myself to one of these characters that doesn't really have, you know, anything behind him other than, you know, being a specific, you know, outfit and always the same. My point is, I always liked the silent protagonist, but that was me personally. I know most people want character customization, and that's something that I advocate for as well, because I think character customization is great. I'm not saying it's bad, but I've always loved the silent protagonist. But now that we've moved away from the silent protagonist, well, I mean, they're still silent, let's be fair, but my point is, now that we moved away from that, it's more likely we'll get more character customization. And if you're gonna go with character customization from now on, Game Freak, at least make it, you know, crazier with more stuff. Like, add in more options. Let us choose, like, which sort of, face we want to have, what kind of, you know, expression the character's gonna make. Like, a bunch of things can be added, body shape, you know, tons of stuff. There's so many options there to work with, and I'd love to see them do more work there and actually add in more, like, way more things and way more options. So, I don't know. Either way, guys, that's going to be the end of this video. If you all did enjoy, make sure to drop a like down below, subscribe for future videos, and also let me know in the comments, what are some features you guys want to see? Let me know. I'd gladly want to read your comments, and I will be responding. So, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all the next time. Have a great day, and bye-bye.